So just like we were mentioning before, I just want to make sure I format these with CSS. So I'm just going to go up to the top here, and I'm just going to start it right after where we did our panel. So I'm just going to enter. I'm going to put a gap in between just so that I know it's not part of it. And yeah, we're just going to put CSS. Honestly, what I would do is just look at if you look to the bottom left there, you'll just see all of it. I would just look at it and type it out as opposed to just trying to watch me and type it. Because I'm literally just going to be going right through it, and it's going to take a long time. So if you can just see it down there and finish it, I'm not going to add much more information other than what you see there. So literally just look down there and use that. Just follow that. Okay, so these are just going to be basic formatting things. So RGB. So a link and a visited, right? So that's just for so I guess I was doing 255. I guess I'm doing white 255. Oops, 255. That's obviously for when for the link the default, and then after you click on it, you go back. I don't like it when it changes color, so I usually do visited and the link as the same one. We'll do background color for our buttons, and we're going to do RGB again. And this time it's going to be 131. Doing gray 131, 131. Okay, so that will give us gray. And then display, I want to do inline block so that way they will be across the way that I'm looking for. And then we'll do width, and I'm going to do 150 px. And that's just because I want the buttons to have a certain width. You might need to adjust that. So like if you notice that your text, your button text is really long, then this button will be too small, and you'll end up having like a new line, like it'll be one word and then another word, or it won't fit inside the box. So that would have to be adjusted. But I'm not too awful worried about it. So padding, I'm just going to do 10 px, and then the text align, I like to just make it center, so it's centered on the button inside the button itself. And then text decoration, this one's very important. This will get rid, we're going to do none. This gets rid of that underline that's by default on the hyperlinks and font weight, and I'm just going to do 700, so that way it's a little bit thicker. It's important that when you format stuff, if you remove, let's do this, if you remove the underline, you have to have another way of being able to tell that it is indeed a link. Okay, so now what I'll do is just one for the hover, so when my mouse is over top of it. All right, so boink, and then so a hover, and we're just going to do color, and I'm just going to make it white base or black, sorry. So it's going to be 0, space 0, space 0, and I forgot to do the RGB, and then there. Okay, so we're just going to make it black, and then the background color, boink, and I'm going to do RGB, and I'm just going to do 194, boom, space 194, space, oops, boom, space 194. Okay. And I don't know why I'm doing RGB. I think it was just easier to see it when I did it, but you could do hex code, obviously. Good. And then next we want to do the menu button. So I need to format that. Because what I want to do is actually have that off by default. So the menu button, if you remember, is the hamburger. So I want to make sure that that is off. And I only turn it on. I'll turn it on through through CSS and display and JavaScript. So we're just going to do none. So that will basically turn it off. So it's there, but by default, it's not visible because when we're in wide width, right, we want not to see that button. That button only appears when it's in a small width. So we're going to turn it off to start with. Then we just need the typical stuff that we need to do with our list items. So I have to do list style, type, and I don't want disk. I want none again. So same thing, right? If you do an unordered list that comes with those bullet points, I don't want the bullet points. I have to remove them. And then we're just going to do display, and we're going to do inline, and that just makes sure that it'll be a horizontal menu by default. All right, and now let's go ahead and format the hamburger. So we're going to do #hamburger, and I don't want to do the hamburger itself because remember that's the div. I want to do the P element. So basically I want to take the little dash lines that I put in there, these guys, I want to format those to be bigger. So that's why I'm doing the child of the P that's inside of hamburger. Okay, and then for that, we're just going to do position, relative, oops, and then we're going to do font size, and I'm going to do 2 EMs to make it a little bit bigger, and then we're going to do transform dot, scale, and then we're going to scale it 4 and 1. Basically, what that's, I meant the comma. Basically, that's just going to make it, it's going to stretch it out. So that way it'll, we're making it thicker and bigger and all that. So scale, and then margin, we can just do 0 px. And then the padding, we will also do the same thing. I might have even already done this on a previous thing, so if it is, it would automatically inherit it from the other ones, but so top, and we're going to do 0px, and that just makes sure that, oops, you can't even see it, so that just makes sure that it sticks to the top of it. And then line height, line hyphen height, and for that we're going to do 10px, and that's just that's going to help from if you remember, line height is the height of a line of written text. In this case, it's going to be our dashes, so that's just going to make them squish together a little bit better than the default, especially since we did the EMs. Okay, that's good. All right, boink. And next thing we want to do, basically, the next thing we want to do is set up for our to make the button appear and disappear using CSS. So we're going to have to do the @media screen. So @media screen, if you remember doing that before. And we're going to set up the list items. So basic, media screen, and then and we're going to set up max dash width, and we're going to do 600 px. Okay, so basically, is that right? Yeah. And max width, blah blah blah. Okay, so basically, up to 600 pixels. This is how it's going to treat it. So we're going to say list items. I want you to go ahead and do list style type none. That shouldn't really be necessary. Yeah, we don't need that. I don't even know why I put that in there. Never mind that one. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do the menu button. So #menu btn. And we are going to go like that. And then we're going to say display. Yep. And it's going to be block. Okay. And we'll just go like this. Okay. And then the other thing we're going to, like this too. And then the other thing we want to change is the nav. So we're going to go here and we're going to say .nav. Back one more. So .nav, the nav classes. We want those to do display, and we're going to say none. Okay. And then we are going to, so what this is going to do is it basically up to 600 pixels. So basically 600 pixels and thinner, it's going to turn that menu button to block. If you remember, by default, we turned it off. The menu button is this guy right here, the little hamburger menu. Okay. So we turn it off, but unless it's small, then we'll turn it block, which will be inevitably turning it on. And then what we're going to do is our .nav elements, which are these guys, we're going to turn those off. So basically only the menu button will appear and these will not appear. Okay, but by default these do appear. So this is only up to 600. So that's basically what we're doing is we're flipping those. And we're going to add another one of these. So @media screen. Come on, you jerk. Okay. There we go. And we'll do max width again. max width. Could have just really done that in the same one. 600 px. All right. And what we're going to do on this one is the .res menu. And we're just going to go ahead and do display. And we'll do block like so. And we'll go like that. Good. And so that's just going to, actually that's not on anything currently. That's actually what we're gonna turn that on using JavaScript. Okay, so you see how this one turns this off? So what this is going to do inevitably is that basically when it's underneath 600 pixels, it's going to turn that little hamburger menu on, right? And it's going to turn actually all of our navs, all of these guys, off. What we're going to do is that we're going to make a button that when we click the menu button, it's going to turn on, it's going to apply the .resMenu class, which is display. It's going to apply that to these navs, which will turn those back on, but it won't turn them on because by default they're currently inline. Where are they? Right here. Currently they're inline. It's going to go ahead and it's going to make them block instead. And let's just okay, so let's save that and let's refresh this. Control R, and you can see, right, we got our menu now, but when I collapse it, it turns into the hamburger menu. Okay, now it doesn't do anything right now. Like if I click on it, nothing happens. Okay, so we're going to use JavaScript for that. Basically, JavaScript is going to apply that res menu, and it's going to make all the nav things back on when we click on this, but it's going to stack them instead because it's making them block and not inline. All right, but we will do that on the next one.